Today's quick tip is about building rapport. Now, there are a lot of videos, great videos out on YouTube about rapport building. And I found myself swimming in that space early on, trying to find different ways to build rapport. The truth is, the best way to build rapport is, or to get good at building rapport is experientially, to just do it and find out what actually works and what does not work. Today, in building rapport, I'm going to give you two things that I've used myself many times that seem to work really well. And I'm going to share a couple of things that I've witnessed that very much do not work well, or it could be a trap. First off, on rapport building, there's something called mirroring. Mirroring is emulating the other person in different forms, which we'll go over right now. There's been a lot of studies, by the way, psychological studies on mirroring and how this builds rapport and why, which we won't get into here, but it works. So mirroring, first off, a universal mirroring that you can do is around pace, tone, and volume. I say universal because this works over the phone. It works if you're face-to-face. As long as you're having a verbal communication, you can do this particular one, where some of the physical ones only work face-to-face. So pace, tone, and volume. The best way for me to describe this is for you to think for just a moment about the stereotypical personality of someone from the far East Coast, let's say New York, Manhattan, in fact, right? And then let's go far West Coast to California, on the beaches of California. Stereotypically, and not always, somebody from California wants to get to know you. They'll ask a lot of questions. How's your day? How are you feeling? What do you do for fun? And that's going to be the first 15 minutes of the conversation. They might also speak a little slowly, a little bit more slowly, use a lot more fluff or filler words as they're talking to you. In the case of mimicking their pace and tone, if you're from the East Coast and you're a fast talker, first of all, this takes practice, but slowing down and adding more of those filler words just like they are. If they're saying, hey man, it's really great to talk to you. I'm glad we got a chance to meet. I can't wait to learn more about you. Then you're going to emulate something similar. Me too. I really have been looking forward to this conversation. I can't wait to get to know more about you. And that's, again, very challenging if you're a fast talker and straight to the point. But in doing that, you're going to start speaking their language. Their brain likes that. A rule to know is that when we're talking about creating rapport, building rapport, people like people who are like themselves or who are like who they want to be. So if you're too far off, if you're speaking really fast and getting right to the point and they're slower talkers, maybe kinesthetic and they feel their words out, finding common ground becomes very challenging because you're not representing yourself in a way that's like themselves and potentially not like they want to be. So that's why pace and tone. Volume is similar. If they're a little bit of a loud talker, you're going to want to take your volume up a little bit more and try to match that volume. If they're a quiet talker and you're a loud talker, you're going to be at a disconnect, right? So bring your volume down, speak a little softer than you might normally do it. Now, pace, tone, and volume does not mean emulate an accent. So if they have a particular accent because they're from the deep South or they're from the UK, don't try to emulate their accent unless you are perfect at it. And even still, that's not truly being yourself. And more often than not, this would be an area of avoidance. Don't try to emulate an accent, but do pay close attention to your pace, tone, and volume as it relates to them. Second one in mirroring is the body language. So if you are face-to-face, this one's really powerful as well. And this one is little things like if they lean forward to say something, as you're getting ready to respond, you might lean forward in the same way. If they sit back and they think about it, then you might want to sit back and let them think for just a second. And these minor changes are first of all, they're really fun to play with, but they're powerful. It's also sending messages to that other person's brain that you're like them. You are very similar to them in such a way that they end up liking you and they don't necessarily know why. It means they're going to be more receptive to what you have to say and more likely to answer the questions honestly that you have for them. Now, this can go too far, where if they scratch their head, you scratch their head. If they cross their legs, you cross their legs, and you end up doing every single thing. The challenge that I have with that, although it's been proven to work, it works so much that you can start reversing it, and you can start taking the first action, and they'll emulate you, and they don't even know it unconsciously. So now when you go to drink water, they'll reach for their water and drink it as well. They don't even know why. This is fine and all, but doing it too much, in my mind, or at least in my experience, what it does is it takes your real focus off of the real goal here, which is to really get to know them and to ask the right questions, to follow your process or your framework, and to get a good understanding of where they are, where they want to be, and the obstacles in the way. And most importantly, to help them feel understood. Well, if I'm obsessing over mirroring their every move as well as their pace, tone, and volume, there's not much brain power left to focus on what's really most important here. So use it moderately. The second thing, in addition to mirroring for rapport building, is really around your questions. And I'll do more videos specific to questions and framework and what kind of questions and in what order. But in this case, when we're talking about building rapport, ask questions about them. They are the most important person in the world right now in your conversation. So ask what's most important about them. I mean, ask them questions that you know are important. As they bring things up, ask follow-up questions. Ask them questions like, oh, so you have kids you just mentioned. How old are they? Where do they go to school? What are they into? I've done another video specific to some of the topics that you can talk about in this space for questions, but asking questions about them and making them the most important part of the conversation, not making it about you, but instead making it about them. That is another way of building rapport. If you haven't read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People already, I do highly recommend it. I don't have a link down in the description or some affiliate link on it, but it is a book that I've read at least 5 times, probably upwards of 10 times. I used to read it every 6 months to a year to remind myself that people, they like talking about themselves. We've learned not to do that. It's taboo or it's not polite. But the truth is, we enjoy it when there's a topic that we're passionate about, whether it's our family, occupation, recreation, motivation, or something else. We enjoy talking about it when we have somebody that's genuinely and sincerely interested in the things that we're interested in. So questions around whatever they're most interested in, and ideally topics that could also be relevant to you helping them move forward in whatever it is that you're going to do for them, that also is a very powerful way of building rapport. So today we went over 2 things. 1, mirroring, and 2, on making them the center of attention when it comes to your questions. That's today's quick tip. I hope that was helpful to you today. I hope you find value in it, and I hope you have a lot of fun practicing that, whether it be on your family, your friends, or when you sit down and have that conversation with your prospective client. Until next time, please do leave me any comments, questions that you might have. Hit the like or dislike, hit the bell, hit the subscribe, all of the things, and I look forward to seeing you next time.